and then we just left it in there, and then Hudmo, being Hudmo he is, somehow brings out these wild horn sounds. But I just don't know how he did it. He pulled out, I don't remember what plugin it was. It just happened so quick when I showed him the doors. And then he was just waiting, and then when that kick came in, he just went straight, pushed himself back from the desk. Just had to like look like, oh, he was like, yeah, that one's dope. I'm like, tight. That gave me green light to go all in with my costumes, my scent, my everything. That's why I did everything right after that. Everybody just started looking for me. Oh, there he is. I was just like, oh, and she comes in, arms open. I'm like, all right, it's going down, about to hug Madonna, let's go. Like it's nothing, like I've been knowing her. And she's like, oh my gosh, Lunice, that was amazing. And she says, I've never seen something like this.
Engel, Sidewalk Talk. Today I'm here with Lunice. This is such an amazing interview for me because I think I was listening to yourself when I was growing up. Hong Kong was maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah,
I didn't even like know any other people like when I was growing up that was listening to this kind of music, so it's awesome.
I'm glad to be here, man. I used to watch it. The first video I called you was when you were interviewing Kurt from Flosstradamus.
Oh my god.
Great interview. And I thought the idea, concept, it's like I love it. Because the main thing for me, I love talking while walking. Because there's the whole thing about walking that helps regenerate new ideas. It's the best way for me to come up with new ideas, new concept, new discussions. So this is perfect.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so this is gonna be fun.
So actually, your name originally, is it Haitian? Is it Filipino? Like
yeah, it's my name originally is Haitian.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's the same name as my dad as well.
Yeah. And so did your parents meet in, is it Lachine or how?
No, actually, they met in the Philippines.
Oh.
Where my mom lives. Yeah, crazy, right? And they both moved to Montreal for a whole new start.
Oh,
yeah,
for their careers?
Yeah, exactly. And so they're pretty much first generation immigrants in Canada. And yeah.
What careers were they?
So my father was working in a lot of different import-export, like, how would I explain it, of products and goods. My mother was in nursing care. But before that, she was an optometrist. So it's interesting because they were in totally different things.
Yeah.
But my grandfather, he's a tailor, but also would teach martial arts, and then also.
He was into like tribal music, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He was into a lot of different music, a lot of tribal sounding music, and he would draw a lot. So I learned a lot of the artistic traits from him because he taught me how to draw, and that's what built my curiosity for the arts, because that just blew my mind because it was something totally almost primal looking, just the act of drawing. When seeing that as a kid, like it didn't feel like that. Oh yeah, it's act primal, but it's more just felt something genuine and freeform, spontaneous about it. And I love things like that.
So did it click to you from the onset that you wanted to have a life devoted to arts?
Exactly. Yeah. I remember one of the first drawings he made for me was a snowman, and that blew my mind. Because it was a blank paper, and then all of a sudden it was a full drawing, and I just couldn't understand how he could just think it into existence almost. So that just what got me super obsessed and deep into the arts.
And growing up, your mom was listening to a lot of disco, right?
Yeah, huge amounts of disco. That's her main thing. And well, dancing is a big part of my family. That's for sure something my mom, my grandparents, my dad, my sister, everyone in the house would be huge on dancing. Dancing was just it's like our base soul for an outlet for us to release whatever it may be. And I know my grandparents would always dance salsa and everything, and my sister would always be into like TLC choreographies, and she would bring me into her room to show me different moves, and I'd be super into it because I was already into dancing, but at the time I didn't know about breakdancing. I was just into like just moving around and being, funny and noise, that kind of stuff.
And what age was it when you found, is it called Do It Jam, the festival?
Yeah, the festival in my town. How old was I? I think I was 13 at the time.
Okay.
12, 13. It's when the first jam happened, and that was my real introduction it was like an introduction to the applied arts of hip-hop. You know, because every element was right there in one location, in one block, and in each element you had an OG that was there open to teach you everything they know, whether it's graffiti, scratching, breakdancing, rapping, beatboxing, whatever it may be. They were there and ready, and all the equipment was there. And it was pretty much all free-form. There was no specific schedule besides the concerts and like the breakdance battles and whatnot. But beyond that, it's pretty much you come up to whoever you look up to and you get to ask all these questions as a kid. So like this is pre-internet forum days and all that stuff.
And how long after was it the 701 Squad?
Yeah. So yeah, with 701 Squad, so that was my first breakdance crew. And my first and only, actually, man. Family to this day, 701 Squad, you know it is. And man, I've learned a lot from those guys because they really taught me specifically about discipline. Because the way we would practice would be almost militant, but not that intense, but in the way of consistency and repetition. Because we did believe strongly that repetition would help perfect a certain movement that you're trying to achieve. And that kind of mentality, momentum, is what I sort of kept throughout anything I've practiced. And especially that momentum of performance, that's huge, because from breakdancing, that put me onto the stage a lot. And that put me into a situation where I ended up doing like different projects of like a choreography and music for like, let's say fast forward into college, where I was a teacher's assistant. And I was there to help build a whole showpiece and get like non-dancing students to do a choreography. But I figured it out through not dancing, but just simple movements. I love like all these different challenges to find crazy solutions to get to where we all need to be. And that's sort of what I've always been passionate about. That pretty much reaches far beyond music, really.
How do you describe your personality back then growing up?
So yeah, my personality back then, it changed pretty quick to what it is today. Like let's say first year of high school, I was very short-tempered, being that my teenage hormones were kicking in. So it was really hard to control. And I just go crazy. But the only reason why I would snap, it was usually to just get the class going, because somebody in the class would just, just delay everything and just basically be a troll. And then somebody would be like, yo, Lou, snap on him. And I'm like, nah, I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. It's like I'm the Hulk or something. I'm like, yo, come on, Lou, he's annoying. Then I'll just snap and I'll just like talk the dude down. The dude will be like, okay. And then we'll continue with the class. But then I quit by next year. I was like, man, I don't like the feeling. And plus, on that first year of high school, I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to get girls. And then realized the general competition is not really who I want to be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was quick, man. It was really, really quick. I was like, don't want to be that guy. Don't want to be that guy. Definitely don't want to be that guy. So I ended up just being a weirdo with a safari hat and a skateboard, listening to like 2 for 5, like the Foundation, like old underground hip hop stuff, just going in and then listening to jazz. So I just went all out for myself. And that's pretty much how it's been since to this day. I've only developed incrementally on myself, on my mental state, on my physical state. I try to keep a balance, and the older I get, the more I'm focused on this balance and trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I love that. Do you remember how you first found Ninth Wonder?
Yeah, exactly. From when I decided to just...
Oh, that was the turning point.
When I decided to go straight 555 soul on him, you know what I'm saying? I got the LRG shirt with the giraffe, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all in. I went straight. And it's great today, because today you have folks like Odd Future and them who show the generation like, yeah, you could totally full on go in it with full confidence, so you could be happy within your own world. Whereas in my time, the internet was there, but YouTube didn't really exist. So all these subcultures from the internet that exist today didn't really exist then. That was 2001, I'd say. And so you sort of had the impression that it was just you and your close friend that were in this kind of vibe. Whereas now you have a much better idea of like, oh yeah, it's not just me and I'm not alone. So that feels good, and that's what I can feel today. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got into Ninth Wonder, man, is getting into weird stuff, looking into all the different things, and that's when I found Little Brother, and then came across Ninth Wonder. And that's when I started deciding, like, if ever I'm gonna do music, because I love Ninth Wonder so much, I wanna see what he works on. Because he's my model of sonically of where I wanted to go in the beginning.
How did you transition from like the dancing to the theater?
Yeah, so yeah, that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked that. Oh, so how did I transition from dancing to theater? So I decided, because of being on the stage so much, this is the thing. Every time I end up in a situation, and if I do perform well in it, that's when I go, okay, how do I expand upon this? How do I expand on this situation I have, or opportunity that I have at the moment? So from the opportunity of being able to dance on stage, I took that energy and tried to bring it through theater, and so I tried that. But the thing is, I did like traditional French theater, so I had to like really speak old type of French.
Oh my gosh.
Man, that was hard. But the challenge, man, I cried near like showtime, and everybody was stressed, man. They were like, we're not gonna make it. But we made it. But learned a lot, grew a lot. It's great to have humility in life, because that's how it makes you grow. So yeah, that was definitely something worth the experience, and it really put a lot in perspective in terms of stage presence, more so because in dancing you're just moving around on stage, but when you're in theater, it's really about, like, you got to be facing the crowd the whole time. You can't stand sideways or back. It does not work in terms of presentation or in how you carry your voice. So all these little notes, I keep note of that. Like if I'm doing a set, to drink my bottled water, if people notice, I never drink my bottled water facing the crowd. I'm always drinking it facing back, because a few people have noticed that over time, and it's just a nice little touch. You know, it's not like I'm in front of them, I'm like, you know, it's like I'm dancing, but I'm still doing movements, and then I'm doing movements while sipping, and I never stop the movement. Cool. Yeah. So these little details I find
really
interesting and fun.
What made you want to study? Was it cinema in college? Or yeah, in college. So by the time I got into college, I started to study in cinema communications, and got into that because previously, by the end of high school, I was really getting into film photography and also naturally into film. And film because I just really love to film because I really got into film, man. It was around then, by the end of high school, going into college, when I got into this French film called La Haine. And it's one of my favorite films to this day, even. Just super well styled, shot, everything to the T. It's just like, if you would see my my Instagram story vibes, it's like, it's shot similarly in that kind of way, stylistically. I love that kind of stuff. And so that was probably one of the funnest programs I've ever studied in, because it not only involved cinema, it's all about like building a whole package for your project rather than just making a little clip or a little sketch. So it was, you make the clip, you make the trailer, you make the rollout, you make the poster, you make the if you're even gonna have merch afterwards, you know, you make all that. It's a whole process, and I loved it for that in that program. Then after that, actually at that point, did you think that you're going to be like a movie director, or like what was the goal for studying this?
It was either I was going to be a lighting director or something involved in cinema. But if I wasn't going to be in it, the only thing I knew was that I'm just going to be in the arts in general, arts, performance, entertainment. I can't see myself anywhere else in terms of contributing arts, entertainment, design, whatever it may be. But it's all revolving around the arts, right?
You never thought about studying music?
No, that's what's crazy. It was always just a hobby. Because of it being so oversaturated, even to back then, everyone wanting to be famous in that way. And so if they were to be famous, they would have to be a pop star or a big producer or something like that. That I've always been sort of a contrarian in that way. When a lot of people get hype about one thing, that just turns me off, because it doesn't enable me to see things for what they are, because it's just too distracted at the moment. So that's why I sort of wait things out till the hype cools down a bit, then I get to look into things.
That's why I take so long to listen to certain albums. You know, that's the reason for it. It's just I just want to wait. Nothing bad. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
And where was your music at? Like, so you were like during college.
When did I start?
Yeah, like where was your music career? Were you putting out?
Yeah,
a lot of stuff?
so when I started making music was right after graduating high school, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like around 16, 17 is when I thought about it. Then I was like, but I just want to get out of high school, man. I just want to pass, get out, get my diploma, and I'm out, you know? And, you know, my mama happy, and then I could do my thing. And then, straight up after high school, I was like, all right, cool, let's start. Just out of nowhere, just started learning where the play button is, what's what, you know, just really step-by-step things. Without thinking about how to make music, just like, how does this program work? And that's what I started using, Free Loops, FL Studio, to this day still. And just step by step, and then I would try to emulate Ninth Wonder type beats. And then when I got more used to it, then I started to try to emulate Ryan Leslie type beats. So like a lot of people, that's how I've self-taught myself over the years, is just trying to emulate a certain beat, and then within that act of emulation, I learn on the fly certain tricks that I would have never caught if I were to try to make my own music. Because they're just constantly tweaking settings to get something close to the result. And so I did that for a nice few years. Met a few people online over time through MySpace.
Was that Jack Green that you met during that time?
Well, him I met, funny. Jack Green I met in college. We didn't know we went to the same college. He hit me up on MySpace. He was like, hey, I like your music. And it's because he saw me on Rustie's Top Friends.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
you
why.
said previously everything goes back to Rustie.
Yeah, everything does go back to Rustie. Rustie just put everything together. Yeah. Shout out to Rustie, man. Yo, Rustie, yo, the sound, we some new sound. Let's go. Come on, we got some new tonight. Come on, Rustie, let's go. Yeah, because of Rustie, man, the God. He saw it on Top Friends, hit me up. He was like, yo, I like your sound. You want to try to play one of my nights? He was, Rocky was running a night called Bass Culture. And so yeah, I played. That was my first gig and first club experience ever, because I didn't really go out the club. I'm like a gamer nerd kid. I'm just kicking. And I was like, okay, club, sure. I was probably 20 by then already. I never hit the club yet. I was just kicking it. So yeah, first club experience, first gig. Did amazing. They thought I've played gigs before. I was like, nah, never. I never went out either. It was my first time. Yeah, man. And I remember that first time I played. I'm playing on Virtual DJ, and then I remember playing and being like, I don't know what else to do on stage till the next track goes on, but I can't put it on till I get to the chorus. So it's gonna be a little bit. So I just remember looking out in front and seeing my friends being like, yeah, Lou. I'm like, yeah, what's up? Then I start naturally going in front of the stage because of like all those years of me being on stage. Yeah. And I just start wilding out with everybody, just going like, yeah. At the time, there was zero context to me wilding out. It was literally just me wilding out to like knock my head somewhere by accident, or not too hard, but you know what I mean? Just to like be like, whoa, okay, I gotta chill. But generally it was like, I didn't know what to do besides just wild out with them, because that's the energy they're giving me. I'll go give it back. And that just stuck with me since. It's only gotten a lot more contextualized now, and so much more sharper, like martial arts almost. Like I can control it in and out with controlled breathing at the same time. It's really nice.
And then it was through MySpace that you found LuckyMe, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was through MySpace, from finding Rustie, Hudmo, and Mike Slot specifically. Yeah.
And then how long after did the Turbo Crunk happen?
Not too long, actually. So I did the first gig with Jock Green. And then that same night, there's the other artist, 6'2". He's our god. He taught me everything. Him and Jacques taught me everything. He saw me play. He asked me if it was my first night. I said, yeah, that's my first night. Damn, would you like to play my night tomorrow? Played his night that next night. And it turns out, they're all friends. They're like, yo, we might as well just all band up and do one night. And that's when Turbo Crunk then was born. And in the next month or so, we started doing our own nights called Turbo Crunk.
And then how long after? That was during Hudmo, or it was how long after?
That was before. That was just after like my second gig.
Oh.
My second gig ever. Then we decided to do Turbo Crunk nights.
Yeah. Can you like describe the night that Hudmo came and all their crew?
Oh yeah, the full Lucky Me crew in that night. That's definitely something, huh? So the excitement, the anticipation for them arriving. It was a full crew. It was Rustie, Mike, Hudmo, Dom, Martin as the Blessings. I believe Claire Fifi was with us too. Man, that's pretty much the full roster in that way. And it's crazy because I remember the first time I met Hudmo. I was like, hey, Lunice. I put my head out, handshake him. He just grabs me and just headlocks me. That's really, he didn't say anything. Yeah. He just headlocks me. I'm like, sick. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, headlock me, please.
Yeah. He's just being a classic Scotsman, man. And Rustie was a pure goblin, man. Holy. He threw a flaming pumpkin in an after party. Don't know why there was even a flaming pumpkin. It was like a candle pumpkin. But Rustie being the wild Scotsman goblin guy he is, man, he left quite the impression. But that was not a party; it was an after party. So anything could happen after after party, anyway. So it's pretty standard, I guess. But that was my first impression of the guys, and I was like, whoa, that shit was crazy. But then the next day, completely chill and like shy and everything. Just like complete opposite. But even then, it's not like they're yelling. They're just like monks. But then they can like flip cars. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's sort of the impression they gave me.
And then how long after that night until tonight formed?
A good few years still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like we've had the idea once. Like I hit him up over email. I was like, I've been thinking about about simplifying a lot of my sounds, but trying to make it sound as crisp as possible. And then he hits me back and he's like, yo, I'm on the same kind of vibe as well. We should try to do something one day. And I was surprised. I was like, damn, okay. And it was because of his Gucci Man remix. I was complimenting that because it was the most minimalistic, straightforward track he's ever made at that time. That really stuck to me. So I hit him up with that idea, but we didn't do anything till like a year and a half or two later, maybe. Like a good while. And I was in his studio and he was in London and he was working on a remix for Bjork, and then he was finishing it. And when he finished it, he just turned around and he was like, hey, you want to try something out? And I was like, oh yeah, we did actually. We were planning to do that one day. Let's try it. And the first song we ever made that night was what ended up being Blonde on Leaves.
Oh my gosh.
The first song. So when we made that with the horns and everything, at first it was just a piano note. And I was just playing around. I was playing around like that. And then we just left it in there. And then Hudmo, being Hudmo he is, somehow brings out these wild horn sounds. But I just don't know how he did it. He pulled out, I don't remember what plugin it was. It just happened so quick. And all of a sudden, the piano turned into horns, and it was da 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 da.
Oh gosh.
Okay, let's add the drums. Boom. So that's sort of how it works. It's like there's no thought process to it. It just is spontaneous, and when it happens, it's like, okay, it's happening, guys. It's happening. Just this, it's like it's cooking. Just throw more ingredients as it's cooking, and then throw it out, put it on the plate, and that's it. And then you see the plate, and it's like, who the hell cooked that? That was me. I don't know. So that's how the project feels and how it feels today too.
Actually, with that, in a previous interview, you didn't expect it to like blow up that much. It was gonna be some like chill project, like a club night type of thing.
Yeah, just for us and our friends, really. But our friends too were like, you guys should probably put this out. I don't know how it's gonna be received, but you gotta put it out. That was the general vibe. They were like, well, all right, put it out, and then that was the reaction. And it's crazy. It's still surreal to this day, but I'm very happy in the way we reacted to it, because it all comes down to how do you react to chaos. You know what I mean? Chaos meaning like a viral blow up or whatever it can be on the internet at the moment is very chaotic, and you probably know that by now by interviewing so many artists. So it all comes down to how do you react to it and tackle those obstacles. So I've been really happy about how we did the whole thing, because now we came back recently, started working on some new stuff, and it feels just like how we did it the first day.
Oh my god, I'm so excited
That's what's
to hear
mind-blowing.
that. Yeah.
That's what's mind-blowing. We went in it shitting on the idea, because that's how we're real with ourselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't go in it thinking like, okay, we gotta make the next biggest. Nah, we went in it shitting on the idea that like, tonight, come back. We made the first song, we're like, right, all right. I don't know what else to say, but it's good that it feels like that.
Oh my god, same. And then how long after did you work with Kanye, and how did that come about?
Right, so after the Tonight project, yeah, after he ended up using Blow on the Leaves, I wonder if it happened before or after. No, yeah, wait. Yeah, after, yeah, because the Miami session happened maybe a few months after or a year after, like 2013 was the Miami sessions for Cruel Summer. Mm-hmm. And that was really cool because it was very surreal, and it was all shout out Virgil. You know, he's the man. Mm-hmm. He's the guy who pretty much connects all the dots.
Okay.
He's the one who found Blow on the Leaves, showed it to Kanye. He knows everyone, man.
Yeah.
I remember passing by Kanye's studio, and Kanye was blasting Machine Drum. Amen.
Oh
you know
God.
who it came from. He's just in the studio drawing something, he's just blasting Machine Drum. And I'm just like, yes, that's what it's about. But that was a great thing to witness. But yeah, shout out Virgil on that tip, and he hit me up about wanting to introduce me to him at the sessions and just to jam and just produce stuff for fun. Nothing in specific. They're working on the Cruel Summer thing, he was saying, but like, you know, doesn't want to really put too much stress on it. And obviously I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I'd love to. And I just didn't believe it until I was checked into my hotel. No, even at checked into my hotel, I still was like, man, not until I show up to the building. And I show up in the building and everybody's there. I'm like, okay, all right, let's go.
What's the session with him like?
This one was cool because it's, interestingly enough, it was very relatable to how the Red Bull Music Academy would be, where you have multiple studios, and it's almost just free form, and then from time to time, well, in the Academy studio thing, it's very much free form from beginning to end for 2 weeks straight. But in the Kanye sessions, it's more like that, and then from time to time, he'll have a concept idea around a sample or a song, and we'll just do all the different remix version, you know? So it's very much like a jam rather than a camp, you know? Mm-hmm. It's not like let's put out as many songs as possible in a short amount of time. It's just feel good. I mean, being in no, that wasn't Miami, sorry, it was Hawaii.
Okay.
So being in Hawaii already is the environment. It was very much like about having the environment influence you and then the music come out naturally. So it was really cool. That's what I'm all about in terms of the creative process. So that was a pretty fun project to do, and just to be talking ideas with him, it's very interesting.
And he gave you feedback on the Maserati, right?
Yeah, Maserati and the Doors as well. Yeah, Maserati, there was the first version of it, and then there was a certain sample in Maserati he really liked. He's like, focus on that, which was amazing because I didn't expect that he would just help me out like that. And he was like, yeah, just do that part, loop that part, see what happens then, and then it completely changed. It was really dope. And then the crazier one was when I showed him the Doors, and then he was just waiting, and then when that kick came in, he just went straight, pushed himself back from the desk. Just had to like look like, oh, he was like, yeah, that one's dope. I'm like, tight. That gave me green light to go all in with my costumes, my scent, my everything. That's why I did everything right after that. That was like, cling, green light, Mario Kart. Like, yo. It's great. I'm grateful for that because a lot of people, they need that kind of reassurance from people they look up to or like peers, you know, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Just some kind of green light to make sure to know that they're not alone. That it's not just them thinking that way. That it makes sense and there's potential. That's the main part.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how many people watching realize that you're in Azealia Banks 212.
Yeah, I know that too. I've had people. I've had one person recognized me purely from my head bop.
No way.
I was just out in public and I was listening to something. I was like, yeah, and it was like, hey, do that again. What again? Not that head again. And he's like, are you Azealia? Like, what do you mean? How'd you recognize that? It's like, oh, it's specific. You're nuts like this. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, even like Jack Green, I barely, because now back then, he looked so different. I had to do a double take.
He had his hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. It's true. Oh, glasses too.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, glasses.
Yeah, the glasses. The round
Yeah.
glasses. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. It's been so long. Man, that was fun, man. She filmed that in Montreal too. She was kicking it with us for a long time. She was there for like a month, 2 months maybe. Yeah, we kicked it. I remember just eating chicken and waffles with her, man. That was tight, man. She's funny, yo.
Do you remember how Madonna's children found her music?
Madonna?
Yeah.
So I believe it's her son and daughter.
Yeah.
That suggested, because she was looking for an opener for her Rebel Heart tour, and from what I remember hearing is that her children put me onto her, showed her a video, and most likely the boiler room thing maybe.
Oh, okay,
You know, and then she loved the energy, and then she wanted to try me out first at the Vancouver show. So all we booked was the Vancouver show. So I do that show, and I ask her if I ask her like, hey, my set, there's a lot of swear words. Is that fine if I, can play it out that way? And I remember she told me, play the fuck you want.
Yeah, she's so fun.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man, making sure. And so from there I was like, okay, I'm going all out. I do my whole thing, right, with the podium, the incense, and all that, the outfit. And I remember doing the first show, doing the whole thing, and I remember her dancer just being like, who the hell is this kid? And I go all in. I'm always going all in. It's so important to love what you do, right? So no matter what. So I go all in, and it got the dancers so hyped that I could see them just creeping up on stage, and they're like, yo, can I come through? And I'm like, yeah, come dance. And then her dancers came up on stage performing with me, and they would go on stage and go into the middle aisle and then get the crowd hype. Mm-hmm. And then Madonna would let me use the whole stage and her lighting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's rare for openers.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, who gets her lighting rig for you to open? And so we do the whole performance that first night, done. I'm like, cool, everybody's happy, everybody's like never seen stuff like this. And I go to my green room, and then her tour manager comes to the room. She's like, hey, Madonna wants you to come in for a prayer. I'm like, sure, whatever. It's like, you just hold hands in circles and talk. We talk. I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking it's a prayer, right? So I go in, everybody's there. Oh, hey, great show. And then we're all about to hold hands. And then Madonna comes out of her green room. And then the first thing she says coming out is, where's Lunice? She said Lunice, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, I ain't say none. I'm just like, word, find me. Like, I'm gonna be like, I'm over here. What's up? And I'm like, what am I gonna say? Just find me. I'm like, I just wanna hide. You know what I'm saying? Like, and everybody just started looking for me. Oh, there he is. I was just like, oh, and she comes in, arms open. I'm like, all right, it's going down. About to hug Madonna. Let's go. Like it's nothing. Like I've been knowing her. And she's like, oh my gosh, Lunice, that was amazing. And she says, I've never seen something like that.
No way, that's so cool coming from her. Wow.
That shook me. I froze. I started flashbacking photos of her and Tupac and like her and Basquiat, and like, you never seen a little black kid like me come out with incense and a weird outfit wilding out on rap music like that? Damn, that's amazing. That means a lot. Other green light. And then from that night, she got so hyped. She was like, I need to bring you on the rest of my tour. And she was serious. She offered for the rest of her tour for the year, but because I had my own tour, so I had to like select parts of it. But it was pretty much Europe, America, South America as well. Wow. It was crazy. It was a crazy year. And it was an amazing year in terms of learning, because like, let's say the prayer, right? So it wasn't a prayer. It was more like we held hands together, and she would talk about reminding us of how would I explain it? Reminding us of like how small we are, like how tiny we are in this whole universe. And because of us being so tiny, we're that lucky to be alive, first of all, but even more so to be in this position to entertain and make people happy, make people smile, make people help them escape certain situations. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know how they feel. We don't know how they grew up. But we're fucking lucky to just be in this position straight the fuck up. Every night, every show, that's what she'd say.
Wow.
And every person would have their own speech about it. And she gave me my speech at my last date with her. And I gave a hell of a speech. You know, I'm very passionate. I went all in. I went so all in, I was about to go hug Madonna. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes in front of between us, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whoa, she was too close. I couldn't see, so I had to like focus my eyes, but she had glasses on, so I couldn't tell who was who. I was like, oh, hey, oh, that was a great speech. I was like, oh, thank you. No, I was like, oh, thank you, shake hands and whatever. And then I'm like looking closer, and I'm like, oh, Ariana Grande. I couldn't tell, she was too close with my glasses on, yeah. I was like, oh, cool. That means a lot, damn. Oh, wow, thanks, man. Crazy.
Oh my God.
I know, but that's the thing. It's like you're with Madonna. She makes you feel so comfortable, but then you sort of forget the people she's surrounded with. That's the thing. And then she got out of the way, and it was like, ah. That was so mind-blowing. I was like, Madonna's world is so wild.
Yeah.
All these people. Straight up put me in there in front of everyone, and that's what really helped build my humility a lot quicker, in the way that, you know, similar to like how comedians go on stage and then they're in front of a crowd and they gotta make them laugh. If they don't laugh, it's like, damn. But they learn a lot in that moment, and they sharpen their skill way quicker than someone who's too afraid to fail. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's what I took it as. I took it as the perfect platform to fail in a way of their perspective, of her crowd, of her market. Her target market or whatever, her fan base. Sorry. So instead of like taking it, it's all about, you know, reacting to the situation in a much more productive, better way. So I took it as, okay, if ever I were to encounter times where it doesn't work out, I need to figure out how to make it work. And that was the perfect kind of opportunity to try things out on a big scale.
Yeah.
So like, for example, I'll have people online be like, who the hell was this guy? You know, F that guy. Mm-hmm. I hope he never plays again, you know, that kind of stuff. And a lot of people would be crushed. So me, I was like, you know what? Let me go the opposite. Let me try to talk to them. So I would reply, and I would say, they would say like stuff like, he shouldn't play all that stuff, it's so whack, blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, okay, hey man, sorry that your experience was unfortunate, but I'll keep what you said noted, and hopefully the next time you catch me, it'll work out, or maybe it won't. But thanks, man, for your time. You know what I mean? For your time to see my show. And every response, I swear to you, is, oh, I'm sorry, man.
Always like this.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't mean to say it like that. I just don't like rap music. Oh, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, everybody's entitled to their own choices, their own tastes. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's what I learned. Okay, it's deeper than that. It's just their initial reaction, so I wouldn't have to take that for face value.
Yeah.
And that calmed me down so much more and made me a lot more zen in general for the future to come. And that's another reason why it took me 5 years to work on the album, my first album.
Yeah.
It wasn't even about the music anymore. It wasn't about that anymore. It was more about, who am I? What's my place in this industry? And when I'm back out after the album's done, and then I start doing all these different projects, when I'm back out, I want to make sure that what they see, like what you see in my Instagram story, everything being so clean and organized, I want them to feel that's been me since high school. My bedroom's been clean since high school. It's because I got tired of my mom nagging about cleaning my room. So I said, you know what? I'll do that. And the next thing you know, I wake up in the mornings feeling happy. Why? Because it was clean. Or I'll feel happy by the time I get back from school. Then I got the idea really early that I had to build my own sanctuary at home, because that's my core. That's inside me, and that's what represents me. So when I'm back out there, if I'm not good inside, then what I show from the outside is just going to be messy, and it's just going to be finicky, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I built on that kind of idea all those years. So when people ask me like, man, is your house always like that? Oh man, is your way of doing things always like that? Yes. You could backtrack. It's always been. And that's what I like, because that's what is to me to be timeless. To be timeless, it's just never ending. It must feel never ending. That's why I love like just heritage stuff. It's heritage because it works, and it worked over time. It stands through the test of time, and I love the concept of that. And I'm trying to explore it, trying to understand it, and trying to see how can I reproduce opportunities. How would I reproduce things to become timeless in time, or how to explain it? But it's very hard. The only thing at the moment that I can think of is if a certain idea tends to come back, or is in a complete cycle, and it's just always coming back around no matter what. That to me sort of becomes the idea of something becoming timeless. You know what I mean? Like classic suits. Suits are timeless. They're always there. Sometimes it's not the hypest thing to wear, then all of a sudden it is. You know what I mean? Like for a long time, Diplo was wearing suits, and then he started chilling, and then he's back on suits. And you see what I mean? It's like it's something about it coming back often throughout time, throughout eras, like how like a lot of 90s style, specific kinds of 90s style with the jeans and everything come back, but I can see that staying still. There's a lot of things that I can find timelessness in, and I just love that. That's like a thing that I want to keep exploring and see where we can go.
You kind of touched upon this, but how would you say the style of your music has changed since the early songs you made back then?
Yeah, so it's changed over time in the way, like the motivation stayed the same in terms of curiosity and wanting to explore different sounds, but in terms of skills, it just gotten better and more focused is what I would say. Less scatterbrained ideas, more zoned in, very much like, whoa, yeah, he did that on purpose. Or like, but it's funny because a lot of it's still accidental. It's just, I guess, the process is a lot more focused itself. So focused in a way of like, let's say, the best way to explain it is instead of learning FL Studio in a way of like, I've learned 10 different techniques, so now I can mix and match these techniques together for whatever kind of track I want to make. It's more like, how do pianists just play the piano without thinking about it anymore? And it's because they just consistently practice and just repetition to the point that it's muscle memory, and then when it's muscle memory, now they can speak from the gut. That's where I'm at. That's what I've become now. But I never was at first, because it's hard to get to that point.
Yeah.
And then I realized when you really do things from the gut, that's that gut feeling. It's always that's the truth. So when I make music, it's coming from that, and I tend to do a lot more vocals now because of it. I tend to do a lot of my snares, my kicks now with my voice. To add, because of that. I just been so focused on that, and it's almost primal, but it's like it's us. It's inside of me. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of stuff. I like that.
What would you say have been the biggest challenges you've had so far in your life?
The biggest challenge so far has been just generally trying to keep a state of mind consistent throughout this whole chaos. That's about it. Because to me, life is just non-stop chaos. It's just going to be non-stop obstacles, non-stop problems, one after the other, because that's what it's supposed to be. Because when people cry over wanting to go back to normal, I always ask myself, back to what? Time's moving forward. There's no normal. There's only time moving forward. And you just have to keep up. So when a problem arises, again, it's all down to your reaction. Now my reaction used to be like, man, but now it's, okay, let's do it. Because I gotta move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now that's kept me straight and made me stress a lot less.
What does love mean to you?
Oh man, a lot. So I've been with my fiance now. We just got engaged.
Yeah, I saw that post.
November.
I was just gonna ask you about the congrats.
So thanks. So we've been already, before we got engaged in November, we were already together 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, And we've never argued, man. None like and leaving and being silent. We've never done that once, not once. We've always talked. We've discussed. We've sorted our stuff out like real people, like a real team. And the thing is about love is like it depends on from people's perspective and how they treat it. Because for me, it's like my love is generally unconditional. I don't have the kind of love that's spontaneous and in the moment, because I find it's too valuable. Love is too valuable in the same way of how time's too valuable. Because if you want me to give you my unconditional love, I have to give you my time, and I value that too much. So I've been very specific with the kinds of people I like to hang out with because of that, and the kinds of friends I have. That's why in high school, once I found my best friend, Kevin Lee, shout out, I'm good. I didn't need to be close friends with anybody else because he got me. We got each other to that level, in the level that we improve each other. You know, he'll hit me. He introduced me to jazz. You see what I mean?
Oh, okay.
I introduced him to breakdancing. He introduced me to graffiti. We introduce ourselves to so many things, and I love that energy, and that's the kinds of people I've always surrounded myself with. So that's for friends, right? Over time, I realized true love is essentially that. So when I met Jennifer, we became good friends. Good friends exactly in the same way that I'm best friends with my friend Kevin. Now, the only difference is what I explain to people is that I'm attracted to females. If I was attracted to male, I'd be with my homie 100%. No doubt about it. Why, you know? But I'm not. I'm attracted to females. So it was like second thought after being so close, so close as friends with my fiance. And then it just clicked as being a couple. So it didn't come from being a couple first. It come from being deep friends and then a good team. That's sort of what it is. And we've treated like that ever since. And we've always just bettered ourselves. And she actually just got a huge raise, a new job. She's now an art director.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Bruh, killing. We're killing. We're fucking killing. Yo, forget about it. By the time we come out with a company, come on now. We have so many ideas. But that's the thing. Building a relationship is just like building a good company. Our relation is so fucking tight. We need to start a company. Anyways. So that's what love is to me. It has to be really deep and it has to last.
Last question. What do you want to be remembered for?
I only want to be remembered for my character, and I'm good for that. Simple as that. Why? Because Dave Chappelle said it best. He said, success is in your character. And it's been proven time and time again. I'll go back again to the Madonna thing. They didn't like, some folks might not like the music, but they'll love my character. They'll love my humbleness. They'll love my kindness, my passion, my energy. That's all.
Yeah.
People are very hung up about legacies, but the problem now I realize about if you're trying to build a legacy, if it falls over, if like anything that you plan doesn't fall, it falls through, everything is like as if you failed the whole family and you failed everything. You know what I mean? And it's like, why stress yourself so much over that when you should be just working on your own character? So if I were to pass that any day, everybody still knows me for my character, and that's fine with me.
Yeah. Oh, I really love this interview. Thank you so much.
Definitely, man. Pleasure's mine. See you guys.